This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
All right, folks, what's good? Another episode, Ain't No Seats podcast, and we are back to talk about the 1-0 Kansas Jayhawks. It wasn't always the most beautiful display of football, but at the end of the day, it was a absolute dominant performance, which is all you can really ask for in an opening night. Plenty of things to talk about, I think, but it all starts with probably the questions surrounding Jalon Daniels. But before we get into all that, B-Turn, AB, whoever wants to take it, curious on, I don't know, initial thoughts from opening night at the booth from Friday night.
Yeah, personally, I think it was the perfect way for us to win. I just think nothing to walk away with too satisfied. Obviously, Andy Kotelnicki kind of held some things back, kind of a little vanilla play calling like last year against Tennessee Tech, and then week 2 against West Virginia, they really didn't know what to expect. So didn't show much. I didn't think obviously we got close to covering and forced a couple turnovers late to almost cover, so made the score look a little better, but I feel like it's nothing to be crazy satisfied about. So obviously should keep the guys, I guess, humble and ready to go for Friday night for a game that hopefully they have JD back. And we didn't show much. So I think the offense will be electric on Friday against Illinois.
Yeah, AB, I don't know. I can't remember what point in the game you tapped me on the shoulder and said, okay, I changed my mind. Doesn't matter if Jalon's playing or Jason Bede's playing. Mm-hmm. We're going 8-4. Thoughts?
That was an emotional take for me. I was right after Devin Neal had the long touchdown run in the first quarter. I was like, boys, I mean, I'm sorry, but this team's going to the playoff. But then like 10 minutes later, I was sitting there like, this team might win 2 games this year if they're lucky, and they were losing in the second quarter. And it is what it is. It's football. It's the first game of the year. What do you expect? It's got to be emotional takes that don't have any weight to them, but they're fun to spill and throw around with the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what B-Turn said, it was a good way. I mean, you didn't just completely dominate from the jump. You kind of felt, you realize that there's definitely still some work to do, so you got to think the guys will be very focused and locked in. But you also saw that, okay, we do have a gear where we can go out and play really, really good and dominate a team like they did in the second half.
Is that worrisome at all? Wasn't that the big thing last year, that the team would always start out slow and put themselves in holes too big to climb out of?
That's like the first note I have here is like slow starts. I remember we used to be so mad last year. And I mean, you could argue, now this could be a bold argument, you could argue if last year's team doesn't have just awful starts, they win 9 games, 8 wins. Like, they absolutely were the better team in second, third, fourth quarters of games. They were just almost always by far the worst team in first quarters. And so it is worrisome because I don't know why that is. I don't know what's causing that. And maybe it could have just been a fluke Friday night, and it could have just been early season jitters, or who knows. But yeah, it's kind of scary. I don't know. Certainly can't do that against Illinois on Friday, but we'll see. I'm not going to go ahead and say just because we got off to a slow start against Missouri State, we're going to do that all again this year. But it will be concerning if we do it on Friday.
I thought Brady was about to start talking.
No, I wanted to ask you guys, like, was there any certain players that you walked away impressed with that you didn't know a ton about before the game?
I mean, the McDuffie dude, our running back depth is incredible. I mean, you have Neal, Hishaw, and I was telling everyone in our section, like, I mean, we forget Daniel Hishaw was electric before he got hurt. And, I mean, just runs so hard, refuses to go down. But then you see McDuffie, and Hishaw obviously fumbled early, which sucked. But, like, McDuffie, third-string running back, I think. Dude just ran hard. I don't know. I loved he just looked like a guy that's going to be a good college running back. So, and he's not going to have a huge impact, so it's probably a dumb one to focus on. But I remember being like, wow.
Well, he has been a good college running back.
Yeah.
He could be. I mean,
he's a 1,000-yard rusher at Buffalo. So.
Yeah. I forgot about that. So,
but yeah, he obviously was at Buffalo, then went to Georgia Tech. But yeah, he had 206 carries for over 1,000 yards for Buffalo. But yeah, our depth is crazy. I mean, you have Devin Neal, who obviously can play in the league. You talked about Highshaw, did amazing things, obviously, when he was healthy last year. And then I think Friday night he fumbled early, lost it, which we were driving. We were at midfield, so didn't see much playing time after that. And I know he didn't lose a ton of fumbles last year, but he didn't lose, but I think he fumbled like 4 or 5 times last year, so could have a fumbling issue. I don't know if he's going to be in the doghouse or not, but feels like a guy that obviously you got to be locked in or your spot's going to get taken. You got a guy behind you that rushed for 1,000 yards already at the D1 level. So,
and I mean, you still have like Savion Morrison just kind of lurking back there too. Not that I think he's going to come in and take a ton of snaps, but our depth at running back, like you said, is very. It's a good thing, not because I think we're going to see all 4 guys getting tons of snaps. It's going to be a good thing to kind of, like you just said, if you're not going to be holding on to the ball, you're not going to be playing well then it's next guy up. You're not guaranteed snaps all year if you're not going to play good. So, I mean, I love Highshaw. I think he'll be fine, but I do think his style of running and just refusing to go down is going to just lead to, 1, fumbling the ball, but 2, as we saw last year, I think the whole reason he kind of got hurt was because he just kept like fighting for the extra yards and messed up his hip. So it's great. There's tons of pros to the way he runs, but also it does scare you a little bit. But I'm still a big Daniel Highshaw guy. I don't know, AB, do you have any players that stood out or anything about just the team at all where you were like,
McDuffie was mine as well, which was unfortunate. But I'll just add to that. There's no position outside of quarterback that I'd rather have a deep room than the running back room, given the offense. Like last year, we saw 3 or 4 guys get hurt. Probably going to happen again this year. We don't want it to happen. We're not expecting it to, but it's a hard position to play. You're getting hit hard. People are coming at you. So like, it's just going to happen. So the depth there is good, but Jason Bean, got to talk about him. We love JD obviously, but we've been saying it for a year and a half now that it's an unbelievable advantage to have a guy like Jason Bean to come in, and it's like almost nothing changes. Like we can point to small stuff, a little bit of accuracy, touch, whatever, but he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the country. He has to be. Like nothing really changes. It's the same offense, it's the same style of play for the most part. I'm just very lucky that we have him and that he came back this year, because God, if we're all in on JD and then week 1 he's out and it's not Jason Bean at backup, the vibes in that stadium on Friday are much different than we would have,
sneaky, like massive moment to have him come back, because nobody thought Bean was coming back. Did he announce he was transferring first?
And I think that was just what everyone expected. I think he was thinking about just being done with football in general, I think also, but he could have. Yeah, he was going to graduate and be done. Nick just said so. Yeah, that was a thing, and maybe he was thinking about transferring. I feel like the staff probably talked him into that, and you've heard it all off season from Lance, just talking about his experience and how good he's been this fall. He was really good last fall, supposedly too. So I don't know. Like obviously Thursday night, it started to leak that JD was going to be out. Bryson said that. So what was your guys' initial reaction just from a JD perspective? And then what were your thoughts just with Bean going forward? I feel like Bean doesn't get a ton of respect from our fans. I think we know he's solid, but everyone knows JD just brings a different dynamic. But I feel like Bean was as good as you could have asked for last season. I mean,
I think the tough part, or sorry if you have.
Just thinking about the games he really played in, there was not one game really where he played bad. I mean, the Baylor game, he wasn't amazing, but we had a chance to win that late. At Oklahoma, he threw 4 touchdowns. TCU, 4 touchdowns and a half. Like I feel like KU fans expected this dude to be one of the best QBs in the country. He's a backup. He comes in and really handled business, at least from his side. And I just feel like he kind of gets disrespected. And I think he's obviously super fast. He has a strong arm. And I don't really know where that comes from, because his numbers were nearly as good as JD's last year.
I think the tough part for Bean is that the way the season worked out is, JD was as electric as it gets for 4.5 games or whatever. He gets hurt, and then part of that was the schedule got a lot harder. So Bean came in for all our losses, essentially, other than the Oklahoma State game, which, I mean, he was absolutely incredible in that game. But yeah, I think like AB said, he's the best backup in the Big 12, I would say right now. I don't know. I mean, but
K-State just might have an issue with that.
Yeah, but
it's a different
guy. He's a guy that's now started how many games?
Texas. I would say Texas has a decent backup.
That's true. Whatever.
No, I get it.
He's the best proven backup, Archie or whatever. I don't even know.
Arch Manning.
But yeah, I don't know. Bean. I don't want Bean to be our starter because that means that JD's hurt, but I'm certainly not. I think it's something I could get over much quicker than I maybe thought I would have heading into the season, just because he fits our offense. He fits what Kotelnicki's wanting to do, and he's won games here. So
I just wanted to know your guys' reaction Friday or Thursday night, because 21-year-old me would probably like throw a fit and start throwing shit and be pissed, like overreact. JD's out for the year, stuff like that. But obviously the staff's really good. And Jason Bean was super solid last year, just like we said.
Yeah. Like to add to that, what you were saying, Ryan, just one more thing before we get home field. Like, it's not only that JD was there for the wins and when they were 5-0 and everything. It was also like he was the face of college football, it felt like, for a multiple week span. And the first time KU football was relevant in 15 years, it felt like he was the golden boy. And even though Bean like had similar stats, this and that, whatever, it just felt like that's not the guy that like put us back on the map. It's not the same dude, different number, different, player. And then, like, they started losing too. But I mean, Jalen, people forget how Jalen Daniels is doing one-on-one interviews multiple times a week with ESPN, Fox Sports 1. Like, he was everywhere.
I tweeted last week, like, Jalen for a 4-week span was like the coolest person, not just in college football, but like in America. Like, he's yelling "New Era," like perfect timing. The video was incredible. That video of him at West Virginia, like nodding to the crowd, going nuts before overtime. He was just like the coolest dude in the world. And so for him to go down, it was just crushing. And then, like I said, Bean comes in and we lose games, not really because of Bean, but
especially the hype just going into the year in general. I mean, even just last episode, AB talking about all the big names being healthy, Highshaw, Neal, JD, and then we think he's good to go. I mean, days before we record, they say he's starting, and then he's done. You get there, and then the video board gate, they announce him as the starter on the video board. So you're like, damn, JD, well, you at least thought he was going to play, right? They announced his name as the starting QB. And
let's talk about that, because I want to talk more on this, but we got to hit an ad real quick with Home Field. And we'll talk more JD, because like it is odd how that was done. But let's talk Home Field. Beach Nerd, you're repping them again. Why wouldn't you? They just continue to deliver for us. We love them. They sent us some more stuff this week. I'm looking forward to getting more. I don't know what more we need to say, but if you are new, if you've been living under the biggest rock in the history of the world, Home Field's a premium collegiate apparel brand based in Indianapolis. They have 150 plus colleges. We always joke that doesn't matter if it's KU or Grambling State, you're going to fall in love with their gear. They understand what fans want far more than like an Adidas or other companies that just make cookie cutter, no offense, garbage. Home Field brings the heat. I love it. Their hoodies, their shirts, huge fans. They put out more KU stuff. If you haven't gotten it, I hope it's not sold out, but you should go check it out. Homefieldapparel.com. They got a wide selection. Doesn't matter if you're a KU fan. If you got family members that are fans of other schools, even like, I hate to say it, K-State stuff's fire. It was
mighty good.
Fire. I mean, it's good stuff. So if you got a Missouri family member or anybody, just go out, buy them Home Field gear. I just bought stuff for all my coworkers, like 3 or 4 of them. Said, "What's up? Here's some good KU gear." They loved it. So shout out Home Field. Homefieldapparel.com. Go give them a look. You won't be disappointed. Shout out.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
didn't know if we were going to that break for a second. But all right, we're back. So I wanted to talk because the JD thing was weird. I don't understand. Like, how does he get announced the starter on the big screen? Like, at what point is it no longer a secret? Or like, what? I don't know. What do we think happened?
Yeah, it's like, what, you're playing gamesmanship like 5 or 10 minutes before the game?
Did they just see him go out as a captain and assume that he was good to go?
I mean, yeah, he warmed up, and then they announced him as the starter, and then JD went out to midfield as one of the captains, and then offense came out on the field, and it was Bean, and JD just kind of carried a helmet around all night. So I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, they said back tightness for 5 to 6 weeks now. And they announced him as a starter a couple days before kickoff, and then now he's just out for the first game. And I know it's Missouri State; they're 30-point favorites or whatever, but if you're obviously a competitive college athlete that's trying to win all these awards and get these accolades, wouldn't you think you play in a game, into the first game, in a game where you could probably rack up some numbers, stats? I know that's not what it's all about, but I don't know. It makes me feel like he's not.
I don't know if it's his choice, though.
Yeah. I wish we would have at least maybe seen, treat it like a preseason game in the NFL. Go let him get 2 or 3 drives, get some reps in, just get comfortable before Illinois. The fact that we didn't at least get that is kind of concerning, but at the same time, if you feel there's any chance of getting hurt, that can happen in 1 or 2 drives, so why risk it? Back injuries scare the hell out of me. Like, those things linger forever, it feels like. It already feels like this one has been, so I am scared. But I don't know. I mean, you see, who was it? Was it McMurphy this week or whatever his name is, talking about that he's hearing that he's playing? But I think Lance has made it very clear so far, it's a pretty tight ship over there. It's not easy to get scoops on if JD's hurt. That one dude, I'm not even going to say his name, that one guy that, broke the news that Jalen was out for the year last year, I don't think has said a word on Twitter about KU football since. Ruined his career. If he had. I don't know what his career was, but he tried to break news. It was just dead wrong. Pretty much.
Was almost right.
Wow. Yeah, but that's a big thing to run with and be wrong about. So I think Lance and them are going to keep it I don't think it's hard to say. I don't know if I'll feel good about it until I see Jalen trotting out for the first drive. I don't think I'll feel confident he's playing.
Yeah. Obviously, they teased the black uniforms, which we obviously have to talk about shortly because I think they're insane. But JD was kind of in the video, which they probably did that a while ago.
Yeah, I saw Lance say that they filmed it in July.
But he quoted it kind of with an emoji that made it seem like maybe he'll play. And then Brett McMurphy obviously said he expects him to play also, and he's insanely connected. I don't know. Obviously, if JD comes out, maybe his back looks stiff, or he's not moving around well, or he's not. I guess he's not sharp. I mean, he hasn't had game action. Do the fans start murmuring about Bean? Does the staff even think about him playing? Because it's JD's better, probably more dynamic, but Bean's kind of earned some playing time at the same time.
But I was also going to ask that, none of us were disappointed in Bean the other night. He was fine, good, but I didn't come away being man, Jason Bean was perfect. Maybe we just roll with him. He wasn't good enough for me to be hey, if it's even close that Jalen's not healthy, we should for sure go with Bean. I still want Jalen. When you just think back to the Houston game, the West Virginia game, the Arkansas game, that is a level that I just don't think Jason Bean can get to. Not quite, but we've seen Bean do some electric things. But that, getting back to that feeling of watching Jalen Daniels just cook like he did in those games is something I just need to see, and I really want him healthy for this game on Friday.
I want to see 2 quarterbacks so bad. Just more often, I just think it would be so hard to defend. I don't know how realistic it is for that to happen, but Bean's fast enough to be a decoy as a receiver. He's done it before. We hated to do so.
And those the goal line plays where we hand off to Bean and he throws it for a touchdown, those work really well, especially in the bowl game.
You know, it's fun. Practice makes perfect. We just need to add a little bit of touch. He reminds me of, you know what Jason Bean is to me, and this just connected. I don't even know this guy's name. Who's big boy for Oklahoma State that I fell in love with? He's like 7 feet tall. I think he came off the bench. He had 0 touch, but he was so impactful.
Basketball?
Yeah, like last season.
Yeah.
Big country?
Yeah, Cisse. That's who Jason Bean is to me. He's got so many elite skills, and just a little bit of touch would make him like truly special. And hopefully it comes around. There were times on Friday where it didn't look like it had come around at all, but who knows? Maybe it's just nerves. He wanted to throw it 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. See, I think that's what the issue is with KU fans is maybe I'm wrong here, but he kind of just makes it look goofy. I mean, first read, he wants to go to that receiver and then looks away and just takes off, or he makes questionable decisions. I mean, there was one where we were in Missouri State territory and Casey had beat whoever was on him, linebacker or safety, I don't know, but he had him over the top, and you got to put touch on it, some air under it, and give him a chance to catch it, but he tries to throw a laser through a window, and it should have been picked. So his decision making scary, and like I said earlier, he did put up numbers last year, but that doesn't mean he's a great decision maker, and the fans aren't just a little sketched out when he plays quarterback. Like, he's obviously a good, talented player, and he's fast as hell. Like, he took off Friday night down the sideline. You're like, oh my.
He really does have a boost where it's like when he hits it, you're like, oh my God. Like, he just hits a level that you don't see many quarterbacks have that capability. So I do agree with AB. Like, we've said it last year, like, finding a way to somehow get Bean involved is a good thing. Like, you just speed that he has and the fact that he can throw it feels like you can do. And I'm sure Kotelnicki.
Yeah, that's what
like I joked that Kotelnicki just had to be dying Friday night, not being able to call like fun plays. And I wouldn't be surprised the first quarter against Illinois, it's just like trick play, just emptying the clip with trick plays because Kotelnicki's been dying to call these. But
I wonder how much of a 2 quarterback look we will get if they're both healthy at the same time. I mean, like AB said, Jason Bean lined up at receiver. Obviously, Bean has a cannon and he can run. So, yeah, Kotelnicki can get creative. I'm sure that's stuff he's worked on all off season, but you obviously have to respect Bean if he's out on the field. Like, if he's lined up as a receiver, I would think you got to put a D-back or whoever on him. I mean, they could start running like bubble screens to that dude. Yeah, and he just takes off.
I wonder how much he worked on like wide receiver skills or anything like that this offseason. I doubt tons, but I don't know. He's a weapon. I mean, if he's ever going to play pro football,
like what was the what convinced him to come back? I guess was it just simply Jalen? You know,
see, I think
with a little injury bug, and they just felt that he was going to play.
Jalen's back looked a little tight.
Yeah, if he was dead set on like graduating and being done with the sport, what promise did they give him as far as impact that he can make that may not involve being the starting quarterback? If Jalen's healthy, Jason's not playing at quarterback. That's just kind of how it is. So what convinced him? Was it, we're going to get you more involved even with JD playing? Maybe.
Yeah. I think I felt horrible for Jason Bean last year after that bowl game because you could tell how gutted he was at that. Like, I think Kotelnicki kind of took more heat than Bean on that, but you could tell like he felt really bad. Like, the dude loves Kansas, wants to win. So I think that has part of it. But yeah, he clearly was told, like, look, either one, Jalen has been hurt before. Look what happened. You just played half a season. Or 2, you proved that we can use you in other ways, and we plan on doing more of that. So I think we'll see a lot more of these next few weeks of what we'll see out of him if Jalen's healthy. But that's a big question.
I think the staff just did a hell of a job recruiting him back, honestly. I mean, he never was decommitted or anything, but I think they obviously sold him on something because he was gone, and I think our fans underestimate how much the staff loves and trusts him too. I mean, JD's going to play if he's healthy, but I feel like we could underestimate how much Jason Bean might be involved.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. Are you ready to talk Illinois? Are we ready?
I was just going to say another. I said like I wasn't too satisfied with the win, and I think we won perfectly. I think Devin Neal was another thing too. They gave him his touches, but obviously not too many. They didn't force feed him. He only had 13 carries. Keep him fresh going forward. We ran a lot of backs in there. I think 4 backs had rushing touchdowns. So Devin Neal, yeah, he broke one early, couple nasty jump cuts, and I don't know if this will be his last year here or not, but definitely enjoy his time here. Lawrence kid, he loves Lawrence, but yeah, keeping him fresh. He had 13 carries for 94 yards, and he's going to be incredible in Big 12 play, and even more incredible if we have a stable backup running back.
Can we talk? This is really random, but thinking on the fact that Devin Neal may leave this year is like such a sad thought to me. But can we talk about how Puka Williams missed out on the NIL bag just barely? I mean, think about the fact that he was the only thing. I mean, in our boy, no disrespect to our boy Carter. We love our boy Carter. But, like, Puka Williams was like the lifeline of Kansas football for a few months. Like, he was the only thing that was exciting. And I feel like I hate that his career just came to such a quick end. And I was thinking the other night, we were sitting there at the game talking about how, like, he was so close to NIL being a huge factor for him, I think. It is
just imagine him and Kotelnicki's offense. That's where I thought you were going with this.
Well, that too, like even like so, Puka would have got a year back for the COVID year, right? So he technically would have been here last year, right?
I think so.
Nick, you probably know that better than I, because he got here. Right. 2019 was he a freshman? Or was he a freshman? 2018, 2019, skipped 2020, 21, 22. He technically would have been a senior, and if he'd have been collecting checks, NIL, and playing under Kotelnicki, he would have been a
my God.
But, okay, Nick, should I hop to a ad now, or should we get into Illinois?
Probably hop to a break. Yeah.
All right, let's hop to the break. Because we got a new ad. We got a new, I guess, partner is what you would say, and it is DraftKings. We've worked with them before. We love DraftKings. Let's be honest. There's not an app that even comes close.
There's really
with the DraftKings, like not even lying. But let's get into it. So, can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single day this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download now. Use code KCSN to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code KCSN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort of Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expires 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
All right, let's get in.
Illini.
To the old
Bill Self.
fighting Bill Self. Yes.
So,
Go ahead, BJ.
Obviously, Brett Bielema coach team, they're going to be physical, nasty in the trenches, try to muddy up the game. Quarterback Luke Altmaier from Mississippi. He was a top 120 recruit coming out of high school, went to Ole Miss. Didn't play a ton there, transferred to Illinois. He looked solid against Toledo on Saturday, but it's a MAC, what's their league called? MAC 10? The MAC?
Just the MAC.
MAC. They're
The
from
MAC.
MAC. Holy
MAC
shit.
coming in
I was
November.
thinking MACtion.
Yeah.
All State. The
I think they should consider it.
Yeah, Luke Altmaier, he looks solid, but it's against a MACtion team. They were down 19-7. They looked terrible. They got a pick six that really changed the game a little bit. They probably would have got blown out. But yeah, Toledo takes the lead late. Illinois hits a game-winning field goal pretty much. They didn't really impress me.
Am I wrong? Didn't Illinois have a fourth down they converted on a pretty tough fourth down to win that game, didn't they?
Mike, you're gonna have to make
thinking of Minnesota, Nebraska, because that was absolutely bananas.
Oh, wow, maybe I dreamed this. I thought Illinois came very close to losing.
They did. They made a game-winning field goal.
At the last second.
They were down 19-7, and they
I'm telling you, they had to convert on fourth down in less than
regardless.
Insane.
It was 19-7 Toledo ball, and they threw a pick six, so that obviously made it 19-14. Toledo took the lead late. They hit a game-winning field goal. But yeah, they're supposed to be really good in the trenches. They lost 3 defensive backs in the top 70 picks of the draft last year. They had a guy go top 10. So I don't know how good their secondary is. I'm not really going to act like I'm insanely tapped into the University of Illinois. I just know Bielema's a good coach. I'm sure they'll try to slow down the game, put some long drives together, try to beat us in the trenches. I think KU's just got to answer the physicality and nastiness, I guess. I mean, I think we have better skill players. We're better at quarterback. I would say better at head coach. Lance is one of the best in the business. So feel fine. The spread opened up at 2. They kind of had a look at headline last week, even before this weekend. And then now it's up to 3.5, I think. KU's minus 170-ish money line. So I feel really good about this game. It's going to be physical, obviously, but I just think at home, Jalen Daniels, I personally think will be back. And I think KU will take care of business, maybe win by 10, 14 points.
Wow. Just straight into predictions. I feel good too. And part of that has to do with them struggling to beat Toledo, which who knows, Toledo, I mean, the MAC's always feisty, but I don't know. I just felt good. The way KU played in the second half and then seeing Illinois grind out a gross win like that. We weren't even healthy. I mean, if Jalen plays and Jalen is even close to the Jalen we saw last year, I think we do roll. You asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd feel very stressed, and I still am very stressed, but I'm very confident we're going to win, which I don't know if I would have said that 2 weeks ago.
I wanted to say this. We're pretty glad Illinois won in that fashion, right? If they come to Lawrence pissed off, 0-1, losing as a 10-point favorite at home against a Maction team.
If they're 0-1 and we win, then K-State fans will say, oh, Illinois sucks. They're 0-2. Just like Houston last year. We win that game and then they go on to suck and everyone discredit. I still had a guy in my mentions the other day being like, Jalen Daniels wasn't good. His schedule sucked. He played West Virginia, Houston, and I'm like, dude, he was good.
You sound like Forrest Gump.
I didn't know he has that voice in
He was literally Forrest Gump in my mentions. But I feel good. I don't know much about Illinois, but like you laid out, they're going to be tough. It's a great, I love the game. It's a great second game of the year test. Not overly hard, not one of those schedules where you're like, God, why did we schedule this team? They're going to whoop our, it should be a good test. It's a great test, and I think it's going to tell a lot about, I don't know, we still have, and I guess this game may not answer our questions on the defense, but that's the biggest question mark for this team, I think, is the KU defense, and not that Illinois is going to come out with this electric offense, but will our D-line, will we be strong enough to go up against these dudes that, as you laid out, are just going to be tough Big Ten football, and we'll see. But I'm excited.
You guys are scaring me. Your guys' confidence.
It's time to be confident in this program.
I understand, and I'm confident in the season, and I get it. But my whole thing, Ryan, has to move with your hands, talk like Forrest. Here's the thing: are we really taking that much out of a week 1 game from Illinois to say, oh, they're not as good as we thought they were? I get it; it's a close game, but those happen all the time. I'm not looking at Illinois any differently based on their Toledo result than I was 3 weeks ago, I guess.
I just think we're better.
I agree, and I would say we're going to win, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous.
I never said
naive to the fact that
I never said double digit win.
I think this. I don't know how much we even should compare it, but I think the Duke team we played last year in Lawrence is better than this Illinois team. Give me Duke.
I think there's, I mean, it's an interesting comparison. Kind of reminds me. You're at home. It was a tight game. I think it could be the same thing, but
we were twice the favorite, weren't we? Or were we like 8 points?
I think we were 7.5 or something like that. Yeah. So, but AB, you said something before we recorded about, and I think I can't remember who you said this, but maybe Kirby, but this Illinois team is maybe not designed to handle our type of offense. Like, is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, so, and I don't want to take credit for this. This was all JK over on the slant, and I'll let you guys go read it if you want to get everything. But basically it was saying their defense designed to, the typical Big Ten West football, like pound it up the middle, punt on 4th and 2 from the opposing 38-yard line, like really grinded out games. And they didn't appear to be super fast or athletic on the edge on these outside zone runs that we saw all of last year. I would assume the motion would be tied into that as well. They've got a lot of talent on defense. They had an All-American freshman last year, who's obviously back for his second year. They had a second-team All-American that thought about going to the draft. He's back on the D line. Like, they've got a lot of dudes. When did the dude go the corner in the draft this past
Witherspoon, first 7th? Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, they're clearly doing something right over there on defense. But I don't know. It just sounds like, in terms of matchup-wise, KU might be able to exploit some of their holes that, Minnesota might not be able to.
I think starting fast is, it's obviously huge every week, but Friday especially. I think if you can get a couple score lead against an Illinois team who, this could come back to bite me, but I feel like Illinois is not a team that's built to come back from a deficit. That's a team that they want to keep it tight, run it on you, kill some clock. But if KU can get out to like a 14-point lead and then you force Altmaier into throwing situations, let the pass rushers pin their ears back and rush the passer, you're obviously in a great spot. Like KU would be a team to be built to come from behind, but Illinois is just not that. They don't have that firepower and stuff. So I think if we can get out to a quick start, which has been an issue, obviously, since last year, kind of happened again against Missouri State. But if they can put Illinois in some kind of a hole and just kind of beat up on them, that would be lovely.
Yeah, it feels like we're going to have to see like just a Kotelnicki beautiful piece of art like we saw at times last year where you just there were times last year
we walked away. Friday.
I hope so.
No, it is. West Virginia didn't even, like, Neil Brown couldn't even say, is that his name? I hate that dork with the visor.
Neil Brown. No one's ever looked more like a guy named Neil Brown.
His brain was in a pretzel after the game. He was like, I don't, that was not the KU team I watched last week. Like, the play calling was crazy. Yeah, we barely won in overtime, but on the road, whatever, the offense was still crazy. So obviously Kotelnicki didn't show much against Missouri State. I don't know what film Illinois is going to watch, but the offense is not going to be anywhere near what it was on Friday night. And you might be seeing the Big 12 preseason player of the year at quarterback.
And it is kind of fun to think about. They've got to watch film from Friday night, but also from last season. But then they've also got to figure out
what game do you watch?
Is it Daniels? Not that there's tons and tons of differences, but there absolutely is. So it's Lance playing chess, boys. The man's playing chess. Maybe Jalen was perfectly healthy Friday.
I was about to ask that.
Because you can get
the argument. I think
it was perfectly healthy, but yeah, if there was any risk at all, Lance might have said this will make it harder for Illinois. So
is it a smokescreen right now with all he's expected to play this week to make them think he's playing? Are we going to see Jason Bean? Is that a conversation we need to have?
Lance is, the guy gets it. He's good on and off the field. I'll tell you that.
I don't know. What were you wanting to talk about next? I kind of have.
I want to talk black uniforms.
Yes. Let's end with that. I want to talk just Big 12 in general, week 1. I know, AB, I totally agree. You can't take a ton from week 1 because, like a KU, you're going to be holding some things back. But just the Big 12 in general, and I just want to know your guys' expectations, if they've changed at all, if your record prediction has changed just from seeing some of the teams in the Big 12 play week 1.
AB, this may be what you were going to say. The problem is all the teams that lost, we don't get to play. It's kind of brutal. Our schedule.
Texas Tech.
We play them, but we don't play Baylor, do we?
BYU is a 17-point favorite. They scored 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
So this looked awful.
We don't play. What was the tweet I sent in that?
It was TCU. We don't play them. Baylor. And
I don't want to play TCU.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. They just got beat by Deion Sanders, who's the best coach of all time. But
like a UCF we got to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we don't play TCU, we don't play West Virginia, we don't play Baylor. Like, that's tough. Because TCU's not going to be bad. They're not going to be a team you're going to walk in and just beat. But like,
so
West Virginia,
here's the thing though. Like, I'd still rather play Iowa State than TCU, or I'd rather play Cincinnati than Baylor probably. So like, even though the results show that they lost, I'd still, I think for the majority of the games, rather have who we have than.
And it would be.
I love Westphal. They're horrible, but I don't know.
Yeah,
good point. But yeah, I mean, I think what it tells me, B-Turn, is, as we kind of said last week, the league's not bad, but it's also not like very top heavy. Like, there's a lot of teams that I feel maybe outside of Texas, but we all know the Texas KU thing. But outside of that, there's not a team that terrifies me.
Boomer.
Yes, but the other team in that state, which is a massive game in Stillwater, they started, I'm not sure what's going on there, but they started Garrett Rangel, the dude that started in Lawrence last year when we became bowl eligible. Bowman came in a little later. His numbers were awful. They were up 13-7 late in the third quarter or something. So, and I forget who they play this weekend. I need to look that one
Arizona
up,
State.
Yeah, it's like a 3-point
on the road.
It's a 3-point spread or something. I forget who's favored, but yeah, I don't know how good they are. I mean, it's tough to tell from week one, but they might have some QB questions. They don't know who's the guy. Bowman is never that great before that, but yeah, Rangel, he's young. I think he was a freshman last year, so might be going into Stillwater with some QB questions and a couple losses under their belt, which I guess could get them motivated. And we know Gundy's good, but I think we can hang with every team on our schedule outside of probably a Texas and probably OU, but it's at the old booth.
OU sucks. Just kidding. They looked very sick.
I just feel better. I felt better, I guess, after.
But I'm kind of stick with my original prediction.
No,
we're beating OU.
Again, can't take too much in a game against Arkansas State in week one.
I don't know all the story behind this, but did I see Butch Jones was crying on the sideline?
On his knees.
Are we sure there's not more to the story? Like,
his player picked him up off the ground.
Was he just getting his ass whooped that bad that he cried?
He's on a knee crying, like tears.
It was hot out there.
No, I feel it's like when you're fired and you're just playing terrible golf. It's 105 degrees, and you're just like, I sometimes want to cry. But it reminds me of
on the 10th hole before because of that very scenario.
It reminds me of the funniest clip of all time, where Jim Harbaugh asked Jameis Winston in the quarterback show. He says, "Jameis, did you ever get disciplined in high school?" And Jameis said, "Yeah, I got suspended in high school for laughing at my coach because he cried." Love that all-time quote.
You got all the voices today, Coach.
I do. Speaking of golf, do you see my brother shot a 31 on the front nine and then turned around? I didn't even tear his back nine.
I've been waiting to hear.
He shot a 40 on the back nine. She was 71. Went 3 over the final 2 holes, finished at 71. It was a tough scene.
How did you bounce back? You looked like your card after the first 5 holes was pretty solid, but.
Well, no, I started horrible. I shot 38 on the front, but yeah, then I was 2, and then I was 1 under through 3 on the back, and then blew up. I think we all got it got hot, and we all just fell apart. I ended up shooting 80. I went 38-42. It was a mess.
Darn, if only.
Yeah, but
speaking of hot, Kansas football uniforms and a blackout in 90-degree weather.
Oh, I love it. And I got a confession, boys.
I don't have a black.
No, I have more black gear than any KU fan that's ever lived. I've been a huge advocate. I wore black to the game on Friday. Huge advocate of KU. Very slim.
That same outfit you have on, same hat.
No. Well, I think I did wear this hat. But
I saw you.
You got to have black. I just think you need a black uniform. I've said it. I want. And I saw Jalen Wilson advocating for KU basketball to get some black uniforms. The blue, we've said it before about Duke. Their black uniforms pop. Love or hate Duke, their black uniforms pop. I think these were incredible. I was so excited when I saw these, whatever that was, Sunday morning, Saturday morning. Just so good. And maybe that's why I've gotten so confident in them winning. Look, and the circus. I mean, what is it doing?
Holy shit.
And I think we're going to Circus Font next week. I mean, but what are we doing? Like, everyone in the world agrees, hey, guess what? If you just put Circus Font on, our uniforms are better. And they're like, for the alternates.
There's got to keep no-brainer. Every fan, every KU fan in the world wants that permanently.
I've always been like Iowa State's black uniforms. I always thought were stupid, and I think I still do because it literally is just black and white. They don't incorporate red or yellow into it.
Yeah.
When I saw KU's, I was nervous, and then I saw like just the little hints of red and blue, crimson and blue. Baby, it just looks so hot.
And the blue number, oh my god, number with the white pants,
just so hot. It's so hot.
Those are easily one of my favorites of all time. I can't wait to see them in person on Friday. And attendance, there shouldn't be an empty seat there.
But I forgot to tell you my confession. I'm in a wedding this weekend, and I got to go to a rehearsal dinner Friday night.
Great fan.
Tough seat. I mean, I love my friend, my guy. I'm at his wedding, and I'm absolutely,
I have questions about this. Are you going to be able to watch?
The rehearsal dinner is at a restaurant in Lawrence. So I would imagine, now we're probably going to be in a private room. I'm not going to say the restaurant, but we're in a private room, and I imagine we're going to have a TV, hopefully. But let me tell you, I don't think he listens to this pod. If that game ends early, or if that rehearsal dinner is over,
you got to come.
I'm coming to the booth. I think I'm going to give my tickets away. I don't know, AB, if you're taking them or what. We haven't figured that out yet. But if I have a chance to be there, even if it's the final 10 minutes, I'm coming.
Well, so I was going to say, I'm just imagining you at about 3:15 in Lawrence. You show up early so you can come tailgate for like an hour in your, long sleeve button down and khakis or whatever you're wearing to this rehearsal dinner. And you just come hang with the folks and get excited and sweat your ass off. And
show up to the rehearsal dinner, just a disheveled, sweaty mess, just hammered. Yeah, would be good. Sure the bride would love that, but it's fine. So we'll see. It's going to be tough. I'm going to be following, but man, I'm stressed. I really hope there's a TV in that.
I was at a wedding during the Coastal Carolina game when we went up 7-0 first drive, and we ended up losing 12-7. It was in BFE, no cell phone service, anything. I just had to search stuff on Twitter when it would randomly load, and couldn't see box score, couldn't see stats.
You're looking at the box score hasn't changed in hours. Surely we've scored by now. We're still up 7. This is just bad internet. Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, black uniforms, not much to really dive much deeper into that on. I just wanted to confirm, we're all down for black uniforms.
Oh yeah,
in both sports, I think. Not all the time, but I mean, a blackout's always cool. It always plays. Now, do I think a fan base that really doesn't have much black gear can pull off a blackout by Friday? Doubtful, unless they want to print thousands of shirts and give them away. But no, I think that should have been something maybe planned months ago. But either way, imagine, I just want you guys to sit back and picture Friday night. It's 11:30. The Hawks are 2-0. Jalen Daniels just played. We were wearing black. Everything went great. Imagine what we're going to be saying as we head into week 3.
Well,
where are we meeting?
I already know what's going to happen. 4-0 going to Austin. Yep. And going into that game, we could compete. They didn't even cover Saturday, and they're in Elizabeth Saturday.
Oh yeah, one step at a time.
Can't get to 4-0 unless you get to 3-0, and you can't get to 3-0 unless you get to 2-0. So let's get to 2-0, and let's keep striving for that record on that whiteboard back there, Turner. I love that it's still there a week later.
And you can't get to Austin without playing these teams first. So we're holding off. We're on to Illinois, and then we're on to Nevada, and then we're on to BYU. But it starts with the Illini,
and then Arlington.
Yeah, we'll see in Arlington. So, all right, any other takes before we wrap this up?
Just hope to see JD Friday in any capacity at all. It'd be dope to see both play. But yeah, I'm interested to see how we look in the trenches. Didn't talk about the defense much, but I thought the Minnesota transfers were great. Gage Keys, Austin Booker, they got pressure on the QB and didn't give up much in the running game. I know it was Missouri State, but hopefully the defense has some confidence going forward. I think they can. I think the secondary will be fine on Friday night.
Let's do a quick prediction. AB, you got a quick score prediction?
Yeah, I do. 38-34, the football Jayhawks. And this is a challenge here. I don't know how they can improve on from last week because they killed it. I think the student turnout is somehow going to be better on Friday than it was last week. And last week it was unbelievable. I mean, I got into the stadium. I walked to the seat right after the anthem, so 15 minutes before kick. There wasn't a single spot to stand in the student section. They got in there early. They filled it up, and what I saw, they were very loud and into the game. Yeah. So,
and let's be honest, you can have a crowd that's filled, but if the student section's not engaged and full entire time, it's your atmosphere is never going to be good. It all comes down to the students. So yeah, that was very impressive. Shout out to the students. Okay, 38-34. I'm going to go Hawks 31-27. Feel good about it, and I'd feel really good if we hold them under 30, and we can come away saying our offense looks solid, but defense did fine too. So I'll do that. 31-27. B-turn, you've got us winning by double digits. What's your score prediction? You're probably starting your fantasy draft.
Right? I am. I'm on the clock. I'll go 27-17, Kansas.
Love it. All right. Well, we'll let B-turn draft his team. Khalil Herbert, first-round pick. That is all we've got. We will see you next week to talk about the Kansas Jayhawks being 2-0 for the second straight season. Thanks for listening. Rock Chalk.